Hi everybody, it's Mackenzie and I am here today to share with you Nehemiah's birth story. 2 weeks and 2 days old, so it's been a little bit of time, but I still have it pretty fresh in my memory. On Saturday, September 13th, I was having contractions on and off all day long, and they were real contractions. They were bothersome, and I was like leaning over on the birth ball a lot, and prior to this I knew that my baby was posterior, which means he was flipped the wrong way, spine against spine, laboring on and off all day, and he even took the kids outside and like got them away from me so that I could do it. He thought for sure it was the real thing, but that evening things stopped and nothing was really happening for several hours. We went to bed that night at 9:30 p.m. and I told Steven, I said, I don't think we're going to get a lot of sleep tonight. And he was like, why do you say that? And I said, because I know, I feel like I'm going to wake up in hard labor, just like what happened with number 2. I just woke up in hard labor in the middle of the night. And I was like, I feel like that's what's going to happen. And he was like, oh, you know, you've been having contractions on and off for weeks. And I was like, yes, but today was so painful. I just can't imagine going through that much pain and it not leading anywhere. So we went to bed at 9:30, and at 11:30, only 2 hours later, I woke up with my first contractions. They were pretty hard, but I kept going back to sleep thinking that they were probably still the fake ones, or not fake ones, but not progressing ones. I just kept trying to go back to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. I didn't end up getting back to sleep at all. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, my contractions got so hard where it was like, you know, if you've been in labor before, you know when you have that one contraction that it's like, oh, this is definitely labor. Well, that happened for me at 2 o'clock in the morning, where it happened and I was like, woo, okay, we are doing this. Today is the day. I am definitely in hard labor. So now it's September 14th, early in the morning, and my due date was September 15th, so really close to 40 weeks. 3 o'clock in the morning, I wake up Steven and I told him I was in labor, and by 3:30 we were calling our doula, and I decided to take a shower, and I knew I was about to go into labor and I thought it could help me relax a little bit. So I took a shower, and then at 4 in the morning my doula got here and Steven set up the birth tub. My back was killing me. I knew by the way I was feeling that I was definitely in back labor and the baby had not turned. But I have had back labor, the beginnings of back labor before, and my babies have turned within an hour or two. So I really didn't think that I was going to end up with a full-blown back labor. I thought for sure the baby would move. I was doing all the positions that I could to get the baby to move. At 5 in the morning, we called the midwife and my sister-in-law to come help with the kids when they woke up. And at 5:30, my doula was joking because the contractions were really hard. At least I thought they were really hard. I thought, whoa, this is going really fast. And she was like, oh, we might just have to deliver this baby ourselves, because the contractions were so intense with the back labor and everything. And then I got into the birth pool at about 5:30, and that helped tremendously. I felt a whole lot better after getting into the birth pool. Then at 6 o'clock, my midwife arrived. Kids woke up and joined me. They came into the room. They were talking to me. Evelyn was like rubbing my head while I was in there. She was saying things like, oh, you know, does it hurt, mommy? That's what happens when we have babies. It hurts. And because we had talked to her about the process ahead of time. And so she knew that it was when the baby was about to come, it was going to hurt. So she was really trying to comfort me, which is really sweet for a little girl who's not even 3 years old yet. And shortly after that, my sister-in-law did arrive to help with the kids. 6:30, my midwife was like, you know, you tell me what you want me to do. Do you want me to check you? Do you want to just continue going as you are? You tell me, because she doesn't check or anything unless you want her to, or unless she sees a reason to. But having 2 hospital births in the past, I wanted her to check me. I wanted to have an idea of where I was. So she did check me, and I was 5.5 centimeters dilated. And she was like, well, this is good. Going from 1 to 5 is the hardest, longest part. So this is good. And I was okay with that. I kind of expected to be a little further with as intense as everything was, but I wasn't completely distraught about it, and I hadn't been checked previously at any other appointments at all, so I didn't know if I had started at a 3 or if I had started at a 1 or anything, so I was okay with it. 9 o'clock in the morning, things were way more intense. My back was hurting, my front was hurting, like underneath my belly, kind of above, and no position was helping me to relieve the pain at all. My midwife said when you have the pain right there in the front like I was having, that indicates that you are dilating. So she checked me again and I was 8 centimeters dilated at 9 o'clock in the morning. I was kind of excited. Like, I woke up, I would say labor really began at 2 with those first hard contractions, and at 9 I was 8 centimeters dilated, so I was like, awesome, you know, we're doing okay here. Maybe I will have a, you know, morning, early afternoon baby instead of a night or evening baby like I've had in the past. 10:30 in the morning she checked me again and I was fully dilated, really soft, but the baby had not come down yet. So she couldn't feel the baby at all, but I was fully dilated and she could feel my water bag and stuff. Not long after she checked me then, the birth pool sprung a leak. So not where it was going all over the floor or anything, but it's a blown up birth pool. And so here's the water, and then here's the blowed up part, and then here's the outside of the pool. And so it sprung a leak on the inside where all the water was going into the part that is supposed to be full of air. We had to get out of it, drain the tub, get rid of it, and wait for another midwife to show up with the birth tub. And so that was awful for me, not being able to be in the water. That was like my only thing of relief, and I couldn't do it, and I was fully dilated. And Abby was like, well, you might just have a baby before she gets here, and hey, that would be all right, you know, you just won't have a water birth, but you will have your baby. And that's what we were all hoping for, but it ended up being like 2 hours before the midwife came, and still I was not having a baby. I was not pushing, nothing. In that time before the birth pool came back, I was laboring mostly in bed or next to the bed, leaning over the bed. That's what I was trying to do, or on my hands and knees a lot. The other midwife, the second midwife, showed up 2 hours after the birth pool popped. We filled the new tub and I got back in. 2 o'clock p.m. The baby had only come down a little bitty bit. They thought the baby was at a weird angle. She thought maybe he was coming face first instead of head first. We didn't know what was going on, but he wasn't really coming down, and we thought the position was messed up or something. And so my midwife wanted me to get out of the birth tub and do some different positions to get him, or get the baby to come down in the right, correct position. So she had me get out of the tub and wanted me to sit on the toilet for 2 contractions to help the baby come down. And I did, and let me tell you, sitting on the toilet is about the most painful thing you can do when you're in labor, especially back labor. It puts so much pressure and so much, it's like a natural release system, so it hurts so bad, but it does usually progress you pretty far. And so I did that, but the baby didn't come down. She wanted me to stay a few more contractions, and I was mad. I did not want to do it. I was mad at her. Why are you making me do this? This is horrible. I hate everybody right now. Then that wasn't working. I kept saying, I want to get back in the water. I want to get back in the water. My midwife's like, no, we need to do something to help this happen, to help the baby get in the right position, to help you. Back on the side of the bed, they wanted me to try lunges and squatting, both of which I struggled to do. They were awfully painful, and I could barely even do them due to pure exhaustion. I had only gotten 2 hours of sleep the night before. I'd been up all night. I was going on, you know, I mean, it had been over 12 hours of labor, hard labor at this point. And it was just horrible, and I was upset about them making me be out of the water anyway, and I hadn't really eaten anything, little bites here and there. So my midwife was being very firm with me about not getting back in the water for a while. She was never mean or anything. I thought she was mean at the time because I wasn't getting things to happen the way I wanted. At 4 p.m., laboring by the bed when I start to leak, and the midwife said, "Oh, water bag just broke." It didn't feel to me like my water broke. I was like, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Yeah, your water broke. Yay." We're all excited because in the past my water breaking has been what brought on my baby, just like that. So they thought my water broke, and they then told me I could get back in the tub if I agreed to do a squatting position in the tub, which I was mad about. I did not want to squat. It was horrible. Like I said, these positions were the most intense positions that they were wanting me to do, but there was a reason that they wanted me to do them. So I got back in the tub, and I just couldn't get into a squatting position. I was weak. I needed help. I needed literally help with lifting my legs up. My midwife then was like, "You know, Mackenzie, I'm really worried about your energy levels. I need you to eat something, some protein, or maybe we could make a smoothie and you could drink a smoothie." And I was like, because I didn't really feel like eating. They were trying to feed me things and it was grossing me out. But I agreed to go ahead and have them make me a smoothie. So I think my sister-in-law made it. I honestly don't know who was doing all of this behind the scenes stuff, but somebody brought me a smoothie and with a straw, and I just sucked it down between contractions. I just drank it as fast as I could with the little tiny amount of time I had between contractions, which was not much time at all. It was like I had energy and I felt a lot better. I really think that me not being able to eat and me being up was just really bringing me down. So some time passed and the other midwife was like, "Mackenzie, have you ever gotten the urge to push on your own, or were you always told to push?" I kind of told her about that, and she and both of the midwives kind of were talking between each other. And then one of them was like, "I think you would feel better if you maybe just tried to push." She didn't want to tell me to push if I didn't want to, but at this point it was like, what is going on? What else can we do? She told me, you know, if I wanted to try and push and just see what happened. I was fully dilated still. I was fully effaced. It couldn't hurt anything for me to try and push now that I had had some smoothie and I had had a little bit of an energy boost. So I started pushing in the water in the squatting position around 5 p.m. I think at this time I started in the squatting position. It was just too much, and I ended up back on my hands and knees in the water, intensely pushing, trying to get a baby out because I knew my water was still intact, and I didn't really think the baby was, well, we knew the baby still had not come down really. So I was trying, and anyways, it didn't really do much. Then at 5:30 though, while I was pushing, my water actually did break. So they had thought it had broke at 4. I was skeptical because it didn't feel to me like my water broke. I felt that before. That's not what it felt like. I don't know what happened, if it was discharge or maybe I peed myself, I don't know. But at 5:30 p.m. my water actually broke. Gushing, breaking everywhere, water, which was weird. But it happened. And at 6 o'clock, after I continued to push, he was born. So what happened from 5:36 was my water broke. I continued to push. I was pushing. It was burning really, really bad, and I was determined. So I had been, before my smoothie and stuff, I was in this mindset of, this isn't working. I'm going to have to go to the hospital. This is horrible. I can't do this. And this baby's just not going to be born. And I give up, basically. Then, especially once my water broke, it was like, I have to do this because I don't have another choice. We are this far and this baby has to come out. So I was pushing very vigorously, trying to get the baby out, and actually my midwife told me to stop pushing because, you know, we wanted to give my cervix time to stretch. She didn't want me to have a big tear, so she slowed me down on my pushing, which I wasn't thrilled about, but I did slow down because I didn't want recovery to be awful. And then I continued to push. We got his head out into the water, and then his shoulders were huge, just like Josiah's. So they had to, his head was born for a while before the rest of his body came out, but it was okay because we were in water. Steven and my midwife, the main midwife, helped the baby out, and then I was in the squatting position. They made me get back into it to birth him. At this point, we still didn't know what we were having, so they were helping him out behind me, kind of. And then whatever happened, the baby came up in front of me and like came up underneath my legs right in front of my face. And I was like, oh, didn't expect that to happen. So I grabbed my own baby, brought the baby up to my chest myself. I saw his little parts and I saw that he was a boy. I was the very first one to see. So I told Steven, oh, it's a boy, which I was really surprised about. I really thought we were having a girl this time, and not necessarily because I wanted a girl so much, but the pregnancy was more similar to Evelyn's pregnancy, so I thought I was having a girl. And I was really shocked to be having a boy. I brought him up to my chest. I laid down for a while. It was awesome. It was an amazing experience, especially after 16 hours of really hard back labor. He never turned around, and it was horrifying. The worst labor I've had ever. I laid down after about 15 minutes. Placenta was not delivered after about 15 minutes, so my midwife decided to go ahead and cut the cord. There was nothing pumping anymore through the cord, so she cut the cord so she could give the baby to Steven. That way I could turn back around, get back on my hands and knees, because she said she felt the placenta right there, but the way I was sitting like on my pubic bone and stuff, probably it wasn't coming out because of that reason. So got back on my hands and knees, waited for a contraction, pushed one time, got that placenta out, and she was like, whoa, this is the biggest placenta I've ever seen. I didn't choose to see it. Steven looked at it. She got the placenta put away for us to send for placenta encapsulation, which she took with her and took it to the person for us. After that, Steven was still holding the baby. The midwives helped me out of the tub, let me clean up a little, got me to the bed, got me laid down, gave me my baby back. We did skin to skin. He didn't really want to eat at first. He was so tired. He slept for like over an hour before he decided to eat. And then we just after about 2 hours, he still hadn't eaten. He was just tired, super tired. And so we let the midwives weigh and check him out after the 2 hours. 9 pounds, 9 ounces, and 21.5 inches long. So he was my biggest weight of baby, almost my tallest. Evelyn was 21 3/4. Josiah was 21 even. And Nehemiah was 21.5. So got all of him weighed, figured out. Then before they gave my baby back, she said, actually, let's have you go to the bathroom first. They helped me out of bed. She was helping me to the bathroom walk, and I got to the bathroom. I sat down, I went, I felt fine, went to the bathroom, cleaned myself up, got back up, and I looked at her and she said, how are you feeling? And I said, dizzy. And then next thing I know, I woke up in the floor with the 2 midwives and my doula right in front of my face, like, Mackenzie, are you okay? And I was like, what? Yeah, I'm fine. And they were like, you blacked out. I said, no, I didn't. I'm fine. And why, what happened? And I was in the floor. I had blacked out. I didn't even know it. I don't remember falling down. I must have blacked out first, then fell. But I guess I was out for like 15 seconds. And so they had the ammonia for me to sniff and stuff. Helped me back into bed. And she was like, well, since you blacked out, no getting up and going to the bathroom alone. Steven has to help you at least this first 24 hours, and you need to eat protein. I hadn't lost a lot of blood, so I didn't black out because of that. It was because of Sorry guys, so I didn't realize that my camera had died and I was editing the birth story and saw that it cut off. So back to what I was saying before, I didn't black out because of losing too much blood or anything like that.
I got my shoes and my socks.
Okay.
All my shoes were in the closet.
Good.
They were.
I actually blacked out because I was exhausted. I hadn't had any sleep and I hadn't eaten. So then, before my doula left.
Evelyn in there.
Yeah, I'm talking. Can you try to be quiet?
Bye.
So before my doula left, I tried to have her help me go to the bathroom again. I got off the bed. I walked a couple steps and I started to pass out again. So I went back in the bed, called my midwife. She said, you know, not to try to go anywhere by myself for at least 24 hours.
And Josiah and Evelyn.
Yeah. Look, and Nemi.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was not good. But then when I did wake up after, you know, a few hours and the baby was sleeping.
Josiah.
Thank you.
My
I did
socks and
feel
shoes.
so much better and I didn't have any more issues. And as far as postpartum goes, things are doing pretty well, and I will update more in a different video. But that was our birth story. 16 hours of really, really hard back labor. It was intense. It was crazy, but it had the most perfect, precious reward at the end of it. Little baby Nehemiah. And I am very thankful to have had a water birth experience and to have had midwives that knew how to help the situation I was in, because I know that had I been in the hospital, I more than likely would have ended up with a C-section. So that is our birth story, and I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you in our next video. Bye!
Bye.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.